Why is the US government preparing for civil war?
The last Super Bowl was played right here. We're here for drone repair. Declared martial law.
Daddy, what's martial law?
This summer's apocalypse movies tap current fears, notes Elysium director Neil Blomkamp. His new blockbuster shows America as a third world state. He says this isn't science fiction, this is today, this is now. 2 in 3 Americans now say the country's going the wrong direction. Half of them say it could require armed revolution. The New York Times notes America's prepping movement, people preparing for the worst, has now gone mainstream.
So it's been a corporate takeover, a military-industrial complex so big that if you just take out one underpinning of a too big to fail, the entire system collapses. They essentially called martial law a state of siege in Boston, magnified that in a couple of cities going on at the same time. You're going to see the entire nation break down.
The internet has really ripped off the veil and shown what's going on at the highest levels of power in the U.S. And they openly turned their guns against the American people. And now they have a military command that's aimed at the U.S. in blatant violation of posse comitatus that says that the U.S. military cannot be used in the U.S. against American citizens. That's been thrown out the window now. And they're openly militarizing the police, having the police work with the U.S. military in violation of posse comitatus. And they appear to be getting ready for some kind of civil war, some kind of to intern people. We're in a really dangerous time here in the U.S. The guns of the military are now turned against the American people in a way that just never happened before in history. And these hollow point bullets are illegal to use in warfare, and yet DHS wants these huge numbers of them. You know, they have more than enough to kill off the entire population several times.
The hollow point expands on impact to almost 3 times its size. The expanding effect means that the bullet dumps its power inside the body, damaging more tissue. A larger wound means a greater chance of hitting an organ, cutting nerves, or severing an artery.
It's quite worrisome. I know a lot of people who are getting out of the U.S., and maybe they're the smart ones.
Nationwide protests, hunger strikes and sit-ins are currently sweeping the United States, notes the website Popular Resistance. But with a corporate media blackout of any news that threatens their paymasters, a more realistic portrait of America today may be at the cinema.
Well, Chattanooga's SWAT team now has a new tool to fight crime, a joint grant paid for the Lenco Bearcat for area police. The new armored truck will help law enforcement save lives.
Keene City Councilor Mitchell Greenwald supports the $285,000 federal grant that would buy a Lenco armored vehicle similar to one of these. In fact, the City Council already approved it.
The Bearcat has several features designed to help law enforcement. It can fit 10 to 12 fully equipped SWAT members inside. There are slots to shoot chemical agents out of, spotlights, and a faster response time. An outside intercom system allows negotiators to work closer to the action.
Look, guys, the fact of the matter is that while police may still be overstepping their authority in the same way they did 50 or 60 years ago, they certainly look a hell of a lot different now. Imagine this scenario. You're sitting in your house, you're kicking back, you're watching TV, and all of a sudden you hear the deafening sound of machine gun fire from low-flying helicopters overhead. You'd probably be a little startled. Hell, you might even think that World War III was going down. Well, the black helicopters flying above might not come as a surprise if you live right here in D.C., but if you live in any other U.S. city, this probably isn't norm. But that could be changing. Take a look at what happened in Miami last week.
Happening now in downtown Miami, Black Hawk choppers soaring through the night sky, but this is only a drill. My team's Mike Marza has some pictures for us explaining what's going on. Mike?
Still, if you've seen one of these drills, it really is like a scene out of one of those action movies, choppers stalking the sky of downtown Miami and the like.
Same kind of drills going on in Houston.
With military helicopters flying above her southeast Houston neighborhood, Frances Gerald didn't know what to think.
You know, when you see this, you think the worst. Right. When you hear this, you think the worst.
And so she passed along her concern.
She told me, don't come home because it sounds like we're in a war zone. Guns shooting and helicopters flying around over the house.
So all of this really begs the question, why is the U.S. starting to condition us to be comfortable living in a constant state of fear, surveillance, and military aggression? What are they really planning for?
And I can tell you right now, well, somebody had the great idea to get rid of the Iraqi army, so when we rebuilt it, we did everything we could to make it as strong as possible. And I'll tell you right now, Homeland Security would kick their butts in a week. What's happening here is we're building a domestic military because it's unlawful or unconstitutional to use American troops on American soil. So what we're doing is we're building a military. My best friend, who's a SWAT officer in Nashua, who came to Iraq with me to train the Iraqi police, sent me an email with a picture of him in the media on the streets of Watertown, Mass, wearing the exact same combat gear that we had in Iraq, only it was a different color. And the way we do things in the military is called task organization. You take a command and then you attach units to it in order to accomplish the mission. What's happening is Homeland Security is pre-staging gear, equipment, consistent. What they're trying to do is use standardized vehicles, standardized equipment. I saw a picture in the Boston Globe during the marathon bombing where there was a state police officer, actually there were two officers, they both had identical helmets, flak jackets, weapons, everything I wore in Iraq, only it was all blue. The officer on one side had a big patch on his back that said Massachusetts State Police. Another officer next to him, his patch said Boston Police. And so what we're doing here, and let's not kid about it, we're building a domestic army and we're shrinking the military because the government is afraid of its own citizens. The last time more than 10 terrorists were in the same place at one time was September 11th, and all these vehicles in the world wouldn't have prevented it, nor would it have helped anybody. So I don't know where we're going to use this many vehicles and this many troops. Concord is just one little cog in the wheel. We're building an army over here, and I can't believe that people aren't seeing it. Is everybody blind?
I am in my apartment, sir.
Go back inside right now!
I am inside. This is my door. I'm standing right inside my apartment. Sir, I'm inside my apartment.
Right now, the cops are banging at the door. It's about 1:30 in the morning. They're still banging on the door. I told them over and over again they're at the wrong address. They keep yelling out 4663, and that is the wrong address. They are not at the right place.
We're not doing anything. Please stop. Please stop. We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. On the ground. On the ground. Stop. On the ground. What are you doing?
Well, the Warrior Cop is basically this idea that police have become more militarized. It applies, to the weapons that they're using, to the uniforms that they wear, which have switched from sort of the police blues to these battle dress uniforms, which mimic military uniforms, to the tactics they use, to what I think is the most kind of pervasive problem, which is the mindset that police officers take to the job. We've really seen SWAT mission creep grow beyond the drug war, and now, as you said, we're seeing these raids on poker games, particularly when the Texas Hold'em craze started taking off in the mid-2000s. We saw SWAT teams breaking up neighborhood poker games at bars that were openly advertised were raided with SWAT teams. This raid in Columbia, Missouri that was recorded a few years ago and posted online. And this was a very standard raid. I mean, it was just like every other one of these drug raids, but it was, it was extraordinarily violent. They shoot the dog. There's, a kid in the house they didn't know about. They come in shooting and screaming and, with all their guns. And what was amazing is it gets posted online and the reaction was just, the video goes viral and the reaction was just,
this could only happen in the movies, but you're actually stating that this is a real-life police state experience that we're going through in America. Why?
Yeah, I call it an emerging police state, but I've actually had people in the military and the Secret Service say, John, your subtitle's wrong. We are in a police state. Those are the kind of cases where I'm seeing and I'm involved in, and to be honest with you, it's frightening. Militarized police, and I'm not against all police. I have good friends that are cops, but the police have been dramatically militarized. In the 1980s, when I started writing about this subject, the Pentagon started handing out military equipment across the country, 17,000 police units. And today, when you see a SWAT team raid, watch YouTube. They're frightening.
This year alone, the Department of Homeland Security has bought 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that this is no joke. Hollow point ammunition like they bought is not used for training purposes. And it's being distributed to every government agency imaginable, including the the Social Security Administration and the National Weather Service. I was unaware that weathermen needed to pack heat. But apparently the federal government is expecting civil unrest in this country, the likes of which have never been seen, and they're getting ready for it. So what's going to cause this unrest? Well, in short, war in the Middle East is going to spill over into the continental United States. These are events that are going to affect every single person in this county. Once I walk out of this room, the safety of the citizens of this county, your friends, your neighbors, and your family are going to be in your... God, that this warning will not go unheeded. We need to prepare this little paradise of ours for the end of the world as we know. Yeah, we are not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. At some point, the prophecies in the Bible are going to come true. We're told that the generation that saw the rebirth of the state of Israel will not pass away before Christ returns. I had to work this out of my fingers earlier, but if you were born in 1948, you're 64 years old now.